Hey everyone, welcome back to Capital Connection. I'm Conan Smith. I'm the president and CEO of the Michigan Environmental Council. Today we're talking about a really fun, interesting, exciting project in the Upper Peninsula. We're joined by Michael Larson, who's been partnering with us. He's at Michigan Energy Options. Michael has been a longtime friend of the environment and leader in particularly the energy space. He is working with our staff member, Abby Wallace, who is program coordinator, managing engagement and movement building in the Upper Peninsula. Together, they are building a coalition of community members who are focused on energy efficiency, renewable energy in the UP, and recently won a prize from the National Renewable Energy Lab to strengthen that coalition and move one particular county, Alger County, towards a clean energy, renewable energy future. This organizing in the Upper Peninsula is really important if we are going to, in the face of climate change, of course, because we need renewable energy, more and more of it, but also climate change is going to push population north in all likelihood. And the readiness of the northern realms of the state of Michigan, the northern lower peninsula and the upper peninsula, for influxes of population, for influxes of industry, that's really important from a long range perspective. Also, we continue our fight to shut down Line 5. And one of the governmental and industry arguments for the maintenance of Line 5 is the reliance of Upper Peninsula residents on propane for some of their core energy needs. If we're able to address those needs through renewable sources, we reduce our reliance, or presumed reliance, I should say, on that pipeline. So the work they're doing around organizing and visioning and building the future of energy in the Upper Peninsula, so exciting and so critically important. Michael, Abby, thanks for taking time to chat with us on Capital Connection today. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So, Michael, will you give us a little bit of background just on Michigan Energy Options, like who you are as an organization and what your focus is, what your mission is?
Sure. So as Conan said, my name is Michael Larson. I'm the assistant director with Michigan Energy Options. We are a statewide clean energy nonprofit that really focuses on guiding communities, towards, a more sustainable and renewable energy future. So some of our core work involves working with local units of government, and utilities, doing energy planning, helping them understand, what their current footprint looks like, and opportunities where they can expand into clean energy, expand into energy efficiency work, to both, help move that needle towards this clean energy future that we're really working towards. We've worked with the state of Michigan, in depth this last several years on helping doing solar siting across the DNR footprint. We're looking at where you can integrate solar assets, on land that they have. In addition to that, some of our other current work that we're doing is working with the city of Grand Haven on a community energy plan, and going through a variety of planning processes with those communities. And then here in the UP, we work with a lot of utilities helping to implement their energy waste reduction programs here in rural Upper Michigan. So a lot in the western Upper Peninsula, and then we're just fortunate to have partners like MEC in moving forward with some projects like Alger County.
Abby, you, I think the last time you were on Capital Connection, you had a different role at the Environmental Council. You were one of our energy policy coordinators. You've transported yourself to the Upper Peninsula, the Michigan's northern realms, and are part of our movement building team up there. Can you talk a little bit about your new role, your transition out of the policy space and into the community space?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me back. I yeah, so I spent about 2.5 years on our policy team, like Conan said, doing clean energy and climate work down in Lansing, and really enjoyed it. Clearly, I'm still sort of in that realm now, but yes, like you said, I've transitioned, and my title now is movement building coordinator. So, what does that mean? It means that I wear a couple different hats. So I am uh, sort of the point person for our 100 member groups. Woohoo! Um, And so I make sure that everybody is taking full advantage of the manifold benefits that come with being an environmental council member. I make sure that folks are getting connected to each other, folks are plugging into the different policy initiatives that we as a council are working on. And then I also am in charge of bringing more people into the fold. So building the movement, as my title indicates. And then the work in the UP. So I'm up here because I'm doing a master's degree here in Northern, and also just beautiful town, beautiful place, and have sort of fallen back into this energy space a little bit by accident. So I've been getting my feet wet with some community organizing. Conan mentioned Michael and I have put together sort of an informal clean energy coalition of a whole bunch of different stakeholders up here, and that then sort of led into the prize that we're going to talk about today. So that's me.
So yeah, let's jump right into that. Abby, Michael, you guys are leading this project centering on clean energy in one rural UP community. So tell us a little bit about the Rural Energy Prize that is funding this work, and about Alger County and where you're doing the actual work.
Yeah. Well, Michael, if it makes sense to you, I can talk a little bit about the prize and specifics of it, and maybe you can speak to Alger County and what's going on there. So I can kick us off. So the prize is called the Energizing Rural Communities Prize. And note that it's a prize, not a grant. So it's a sum of money that was given to us as a prize to build a community coalition over in Alger County, do some really meaningful community engagement and education, particularly is something we've been focusing on, just to sort of familiarize people with what options are out there for them if they're interested in investing in systems on their own, sort of in a rooftop individual model, or we're also engaging with municipalities and with businesses if they're looking to do maybe a bigger installation. And then, like Conan mentioned, we also have been doing some work around, and Michael can speak a little bit to this, but profiling the current state of affairs in Alger County, right? So what are people paying in energy bills? Things like that. So, and that'll help inform sort of the other half of the prize work, which is to hopefully connect people to resources to do some building energy efficiency improvements as well. So sort of hitting both of those bases. Yeah, and then Michael can talk a little bit about Alger County.
Yeah, Michael, I imagine many of our participants on the webinar aren't familiar with the geography of the Upper Peninsula. Can you tell folks, like, where is Alger County? Like, what might anchor us there?
Yeah, sure. So I live in Marquette. So I'm just 40 minutes from Munising. Munising is Alger County's largest municipality there. With just under 2,000 folks that live there. The entire county, in fact, has roughly 9,000 people, total, that are there. So we've got a lot of population there. But, one of the largest draws to Alger County is Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore. And so, that we'll see, we have a huge influx of visitors, to Alger County every year that are visiting, the National Lakeshore there. The Pictured Rocks cruises, kayaking. It's a lot of outdoor activities that are involved there. But it's a really rural landscape that it comes down to. We've got a core of locals that live there, of course, and then we have that influx of summer visitors, lots of short-term rentals. You have folks coming in, which has these last few years certainly has seen its share of growing pains, kind of adapting to the number of folks that are trying to get to the park. And, a testament to the area's beauty, also a testament to kind of, the park system there promoting that. And I think, Picture Rocks is actually featured on one of the Michigan quarters, as well.
Yeah.
So we've got that going on, but the people in Alger County have been very open thus far to kind of thinking about how do we collaborate, how do we come together and perform and kind of come together as a coalition. How can we speak together to make sure that Alger County, the small rural county in Upper Michigan, gets is able to look towards a clean energy future? What kind of projects can pull together? But in order to do so, you need those Munising folks, but you also need folks from Autrain and Christmas and Dearton and Chatham. So all these little individual places, some of them might be unincorporated, but there's still an interest in kind of local resilience, local reliability, and that movement forward. And so working with this coalition thus far, Abby's been instrumental in putting together some educational sessions, and those are going to be coming out as we move on. We just finished our first one a couple of weeks ago, a little bit of a solar 101 that had we had 40 folks that came into the room and to kind of take time out of their evening just to think about what solar means for them, for their property, and how they can potentially move towards that in the future. So again, I think this is the first in a series of 4 or 5 that are going to be moving forward. But again, a testament to the people there that do have real interest in it.
So you both have worked on energy policy and practice in more densely populated areas. The Department of Energy has a keen interest in rural communities that they have articulated through this prize. What do you think the differences and challenges are when working in rural Michigan versus a place like Grand Rapids or Metro Detroit?
I think some of the differences there is that we've got more distance to travel. That sounds a little bit silly, but we're being very rural, trying to find that centralized place. Right now, we might be meeting in Munising, but we want to be able to spread that around. So, like, how do we draw that same crowd in Chatham? How do we get people in a much smaller area to take interest and hear that we're trying to bring this forward? And so there's always those core people, and so we have to rely on a lot of those networks. So networks that already exist. We've relied on some of those in Alger County already that have connections to not only renewable energy but maybe into municipal governments. Looking at some of those other organizations like Rotary and other pieces that you have those natural gatherings that I think make it easier to kind of get into if you have affiliation with some of those natural gatherings. So in some ways it's not too different, but it's certainly can be a challenge. Politics can also be a challenge, with kind of with being in the rural areas as well. However, we've thus far we found nothing but kind of welcome in a lot of these rural areas.
That's one of the things, Abby, I'm curious about. I think there is an assumption in the environmental community that working on these renewable energy issues in rural spaces, you're starting from behind. But it doesn't sound like that's what you're experiencing.
Yeah, I would say we've had a really good experience so far. And I do just want to shout out one of our awesome partners, a group that is based out of Munising called the Alger County Renewable Energy Solutions Group. And they're just an informal group of passionate people on the ground who have been gathering for years before we ever were in this community. And so, folks are interested in renewable energy for a myriad of different reasons, right? it's about resilience. That's a huge thing up here with the long cold winters. It's you got to be hardy up here. So that's a big thing for people. We also face some of the highest electricity costs in, I want to say, in the entire country. So lowering costs is huge for people, I think. And then you've got your sort of other folks that are just interested in doing it because they believe that it's the right thing, or they believe that that's the direction the future is going, and they see the writing on the wall. So
it, like any community, Michael, the transition from fossil fuels to renewable energy isn't built just with community members, but with the utilities themselves. You've been working with utilities in the Western UP. Can you talk a little bit about that and their interest in this new energy economy?
Sure. So what I was, the utilities have been, for years, just like a lot of the utilities across the state have been running energy waste reduction programs and really trying to move forward. And, again, some of that was set by law, but right now we're kind of in that a little bit of an in-between period where we still see most utilities up here wanting to offer programs to their customers, energy efficiency programs to help, help customers reduce the amount of energy they use. And help them save money in the process of doing of that. Moving into clean energy, utilities also they're still offering some sort of interconnection agreement that allows folks to install their own solar and move forward. I think there's certainly some questions that the utilities are still have about the newest legislation and how that's going to affect kind of moving forward. And so I think it'll be interesting to see how in these coming years how the utilities all kind of react, and whether that is building generation from themselves, or moving forward in a more robust customer program that's going to be coming forth. Previously it was a 1% of sales. It's going to be moving to 1.5% of sales to help regulate, help those customers reduce energy consumption, and in theory help bring costs down and help bring down the amount of energy these utilities are going to have to bring on in the future. So I think a lot of them are on board, but it's a conservative approach, as we've seen across the state with a lot of utilities.
One of the perennial tensions in the transition to renewable energy is about the character of our communities, the nature of the environmental impacts. Like it's not an easy move, right? Like in order to power your community with solar, you need to site solar panels either on lots and lots and lots of rooftops or on large swaths of land. Those solar panels themselves require raw materials that are derived from mining that has its own impacts. Mining being a major industry in the Upper Peninsula that has left some environmental scars. How is the Upper Peninsula community reacting to those kinds of challenges? Are you hearing that in your community meetings and amongst community leaders?
I think generally, so I'm a previous planning commissioner, here in the city of Marquette as well. So certainly not any stranger to citing issues, not only of solar, but of, a variety of, whether that is multifamily building or, low-income housing. I think there's some shared characteristics of planners kind of across the area. But essentially locals want to be able to have a little bit of a say, right? And so there's some of those concerns that, that continue to remain out there. It's like, hey, where's this going to go? We want to make sure that it goes in the right place. And so people want to be involved. If this conversation is going to happen, people want to be involved in the conversation. They don't want to be brought in at the end of the conversation or seem like they haven't been able to get their say. So, I think in some of our community meetings, sure, there has been concerns about citing, how large these installations are and how they might change that character of the neighborhood or of the community. But the fact remains, I think they want to be brought in early, to that conversation. So I think groups like, MEC and NEO and, other nonprofits and people that want to move this, I think we see that value. And, we want to be kind of, at the that first part of the spear moving into communities, helping to do robust education, helping to have, dispel any sort of myths that are associated with it, helping people understand what exactly it is going to be coming. And to be fair, we don't have any large installations in places like Alger County, right now. The UP, just move forward with, over in Felch Township, they've got Groveland Mine. They cited a large 100-megawatt project over in Groveland Mine, which was an old brownfield site. So, are there opportunities for communities to think about where you want to site it? Maybe it's brownfield sites, maybe those make sense to take a look at first. Are there other marginal lands that can be kind of strung together? So I think communities want to be involved in those discussions, and I think groups like ours and MEC can help lead those discussions kind of moving forward. As we're faced with some of those large community energy decisions.
Abby, when you meet with residents, I'm saying this kind of awkwardly but bumpily. So we have a member organization, Upper Peninsula Environmental Coalition, that has been on the forefront of defending the UP against mining impacts for a generation. And yet mining brings a lot of jobs to the Upper Peninsula, of course, and is essential for the materials that we need to make this transition. When you talk to folks about that tension, what are you hearing in the community? How are they grappling with it? How are they prioritizing which environmental benefit comes first?
Yeah, it's a tough one, right? I think a lot of folks up here, maybe not so much in Alger County, because I don't think there is a functioning mine there at this point, but certainly in our neck of the woods over here in Marquette and over in the Western UP, pretty much everybody knows a dad or a grandpa or somebody who's been employed by the mines at a certain point in their life. And there's a lot of history there, and in a lot of ways it's been really, really beneficial for a lot of families up here. So it's definitely hard. And there's also, I think, like you said in your question, materials to build these things, to build panels, and we need minerals to do that. So it's definitely something that we hear for sure, even over in Alger County. Which thing comes first? It's a lot easier to prioritize the thing that's right in front of you, right? Something that has been around for decades, rather than something that to a lot of people feels like taking a really big leap. So yeah, it's a difficult one for sure. And it's a matter of education, and it's a matter of climate education sort of at its core, but also of I'm going off course slightly, but another, like a big thing we also hear is just it's the UP, how the weather up here, right? Like how is this even going to work? How are they going to generate the amount of power with sort of our crazy amounts of snow that we get, and our gray skies oftentimes. And so that's, I think, where the education piece comes in, and just dispelling some of this misinformation and things like that.
One of the things that I find most exciting and intriguing about the project you're doing in Alger County is it being oriented around the idea of giving the community a say over their energy future, organizing people to envision that future, designing projects that would lead them to that future. Michael, you were mentioning that there is a palpable sense of people wanting to be engaged and informed before things hit them. This project seems to want to go actually a little bit beyond, the typical, hey, community engagement when a project's been proposed, further by letting people actually design that future themselves.
Yeah, so I think in this community engagement and trying to gather this coalition of folks it's important because it helps put context to, these different groups, helps bring folks together that might not have had these conversations before. And so really getting that local stakeholder engagement together, whether that be county officials, businesses, residents, and community groups like ACRES together is really important for inclusive decision making or inclusive planning. And so that once your local unit of government can hear, sometimes like somebody like Munising or Alger County, having these groups of people together saying, hey, there is an interest in having particular zoning for clean energy, or there is it's something we want to have our local units of government adopt some sort of efficiency policy, or or have some sort of decarbonization plan, whether that's a setting goal for 2050 or beyond. Just having that understanding that you've got this group of people together and you can move the needle, whether that's on a project itself or whether it's on policy. Local policies can be a little bit of an unsung hero, for efficiency and clean energy moving forward. So, whether it's an actual installation or whether it's kind of informing governments, local units of governments of policy and how they move forward, I think that you can hit a variety of opportunities, through coalition building anyway.
Love that. Abby, last word to you as we're at the hour. Can you talk a little bit about the next steps in this project? You've built your coalition, they've started meeting. What is the end game? Where are you going?
Yeah, certainly. So, I think that there are any number of end games, right? I think the goal, so this project started back in July when we were granted the prize, goes through next July. So over the next 6 months, I think we really hope we plan to continue to do some of this education, and we're going to do some really meaningful sort of one-on-one engagement with folks. One of the partners on the project, or on our project team, is the nonprofit Green Bank Michigan Saves. They provide low interest financing for businesses, individuals, municipalities that want to invest in building efficiency, or in renewable systems. And so I think our role in this space is to connect people that are interested with those resources, either education or finance, that can sort of give them the tools that they need to pursue an installation or pursue some upgrades. So if you ask me what I hope come July, I hope that we have folks that feel empowered and feel interested and are ready to take the next step. Either installing solar on their rooftop, a government installing solar on their municipal buildings. One of these cities creating a program to provide efficiency upgrades to their residents. I think it could look like a lot of things, but yeah.
Great. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the project come together and our end results. We'll do some reporting on that later in 2024. Also, note that there are a couple questions that were in the chat and the Q&A that we weren't able to get to today. Please know that if you posted something there, we will work with Michael and Abby to write up responses that will be included in the email follow-up to this. And you'll be able to also get a copy of the webinar via that email and on our YouTube channel. Michael, Abby, thanks for taking a half hour out of your day to talk about this project. It was great to see you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And happy holidays to you both. I hope you have a little time off. Abby, very little time off, please. Only give yourself
okay, yeah.
Just keep working through the holidays.
Okay.
Great. Thanks. Michael, Abby, thanks very much again. To all of you in the audience, thanks for joining us for Capital Connection. Again, we're going to be restructuring this webinar series in 2024, going deeper into a handful of issues so that you can get a really robust perspective on how we're grappling with the most pressing environmental challenges facing Michigan and the Michigan legislature. I hope you'll enjoy that. And in the meantime, enjoy your holidays. We'll see you in 2024. Thanks all.